The book, What Happened to You, by Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey deals with the concept of trauma and how the mind deals with it. The text explains the structure of the brain and its role in processing information, as it consists of several parts that deal differently with external stimuli. It focuses on the part responsible for primitive functions such as breathing and heartbeat, while the tasks of thinking and communication lie in the upper parts. It explains how the mind receives information about the outside world through the senses, and how this information is linked to previous memories stored since childhood, creating a complex network of links that embody life experiences. The child links sounds with the shapes he sees, giving an example of how information is stored and memory is formed. With continued life experiences, these links are strengthened, making the mind able to infer what will happen based on what has been previously experienced. Their experiences and outcomes varied, as each individual reacts differently to the situation based on their location and sense of danger. This highlights that psychological trauma is linked to several factors, namely the event itself, each individual's personal experience, and the impact resulting from this experience. The explanation moves on to the importance of a deep understanding of trauma and how reactions differ between individuals based on their data and outlook on life. The idea delves into how past traumas affect our current behaviors, as the text indicates that the experience of love since childhood plays a role in shaping our feelings and relationships. Psychoeducation appears as a means of understanding the depths of the psyche and how we can recover from these painful experiences. The example of the street is used to explain how the brain responds to threatening situations, starting with attention and assessment of the situation, then freezing and preparing to flee or attack, which reflects the biological and psychological processes that occur in critical moments. It becomes clear that recovery does not mean returning to normal, as the effect may remain in the form of trauma. It is important to clarify the concept of psychological trauma because it is not a phenomenon that occurs to everyone in the same way, but rather depends on personal awareness and the context of the experience. The text invites the reader to think about how these elements affect his daily life and his interactions with those around him. For several factors such as age, as children are affected psychologically, it refers to the impact of trauma on the mind and body. Experiences naturally differ according to more than adults due to their psychological immaturity and limited ability to deal with complex emotions. The presence of previous traumas also enhances the impact of new trauma, which deepens the suffering of individuals and increases feelings of fear and anxiety. Also, a person's view of the world affects his interpretation of experiences. The more negative this view is, the more susceptible the individual is to psychological harm. When it comes to social relationships, individuals who have a strong support network can overcome trauma faster compared to those who suffer from isolation. But when we discuss how the mind can recover, the truth shows that the mind cannot completely return to what it was before the trauma, but can develop and change, reflecting the individual's ability to adapt to new circumstances. It includes four main groups of symptoms. The first is repetition symptoms, where, PTSD, the mind reenacts the incident in a repetitive manner, and the reason for this is due to the mind's attempt to understand the horrific experience in light of the information available to it. This process leads to frustration in the person's brain, making him feel unable to feel comfortable or understand anything. The second group of symptoms is related to avoidance, where the person seeks to avoid situations or people that remind him of his painful experiences, and this tendency often appears in individuals who were exposed to violence during their childhood, which prevents them from building healthy relationships. The third group includes severe changes in mood, such as depression and loss of pleasure, while the fourth group is related to stress response symptoms, which appear in the form of excessive anxiety, increased heart rate, and insomnia. If these symptoms affect your life on a daily basis, it is important to seek appropriate psychological help and support. Traumatic experiences leave a deep impact. However, there is always a glimmer of hope, as humans have the ability to heal themselves. This is divided into two parts. The first is innate and relates to how our minds are designed, and the second is acquired throughout life. As we grow older, we begin to use different methods to achieve stability and calm anxiety, and these methods may differ from one person to another. However, sometimes, the mind resorts to unhealthy mechanisms to escape pain, and one of the most common of these mechanisms is detachment from reality. This occurs when a person feels helpless to face a situation, which leads to a good decline in psychological distress. In those moments, the mind prefers to detach from reality to protect itself, which makes the person feel as if he is watching events from afar. This phenomenon is clearly evident in children who are exposed to violence, as they find safety in their inner world. It is also related to addiction. It is not an escape to instant pleasure as many believe, but rather a means of avoiding pain. In the second part of the treatment process, we must face our questions and understand our past. This step is not easy, but it is necessary for recovery. The pain resulting from escaping from it. In addition, it is important to act wisely towards. Facing the past itself is important, as it helps us accept the traumas instead of our mind, and we know that it is capable of changing if given the chance. Self-support and not being afraid to seek help can contribute to transforming a negative view of the world to a more positive view. The presence of a specialist by the person may contribute greatly to moving towards recovery, but the most important thing is building human relationships. Healthy and supportive relationships are among the most powerful tools for healing from past traumas, as love and belonging to others can have a profound impact. When you create healthy connections and allow yourself to open your heart to others, the mind begins to renew its experience and reshape its vision of the world. This change contributes to the formation of new positive connections, which leads to building a different vision characterized by love, happiness and contentment, instead of pain, sadness and anger. Therefore, the author encourages sharing personal experiences and connecting with others, which contributes to strengthening the sense of belonging and participation in this healing journey.